Hi, I'm Alexa. Before I begin today's presentation, I do want to just state that I have some notes on my iPad so I don't lose track. So if the camera's picking up that I'm looking down a lot, that's why. So today I will be sharing my vision board and explaining my mindful eating goals and just what I found the most impactful from this class. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So this is my vision board. Let's jump right in. So the images on the left are the state of mindfulness I had before this class. I was always huge on junk food. I never gave that much thought to the process of how these harmful foods were made, and overall didn't really care what was going into my body. That's why I added this burger, kind of clarified that it was junk food because it might look like a healthy burger, but I did want to clarify that it was junk food. It's always been junk food. I'm a huge fan of, I think, anything unhealthy. So this has led for me to a lot of weight fluctuation problems throughout my life. I've struggled gaining weight because there was never a lot of protein in my diet, and I'd find myself in a constant state of ickiness, just riddled with migraines and pains constantly. I think my physical nature really reflected my weak state of mind and my lack of mindfulness overall. I also added this like tree surrounded by a bunch of garbage because I did want to reflect that my bad eating habits contributed to bad environmental habits. All the junk food that I was eating, wrapped with plastic and any bad food that was processed with packaging that was plastic, that all contributed to these overfilled landfills. And that's something that I find really important, especially during this class. So the middle is a reflection of what my mind has and is still becoming during and after this class. I've taken into consideration my level of gratefulness regarding food and started taking into consideration the potential process of the makings of the food that I eat. I also wanted to change my diet according to this and cut out any foods that had detrimental makings. So this refers to things like fast food, like I mentioned, that overproduce plastics, that release toxins in the air, and so many more harmfully produced foods. I really resonated with this quote right here that says, "Gratitude turns what we have into enough." I think as a community, we often notice what we don't have and we focus on how we can get more. But we don't really take into consideration what we do and make it enough for us. Over the past couple of months, with this, obviously, it's not a new situation, but I think that politically it has come into light more. I've been really fascinated and very sentimental with this hunger crisis in places like Gaza, many other places. And it has made me overaware and extremely grateful for what I have. Um, and it's made me want to contribute more to the community. This poem on the bottom is it's a little hard to make out, so I apologize for that. But I will paraphrase it. It simply emphasizes that we need to take time to enjoy, appreciate, and savor our food instead of jumping to the next meal or paying no mind to what we just ate. I included another quote at the bottom that I think just overall emphasizes that same message that sometimes we just need to, you know, enjoy a nice meal and take time to appreciate that. And without that, I don't think our minds are at its full mindfulness capacity. Okay. So, lastly, all the way on the right are my goals and what I hope to achieve in the future. I want to completely cut out plastics in my life to make the world a greener place. This helps make my diet healthier as well because it eliminates anything that is overproduced and packaged in disposable plastics. I include this picture that kind of emphasizes the saying no to plastic movement, as well as um, kind of like a little metaphorical picture of a greener earth. The quote that I added symbolizes me being one with any situation I'm in and being there 100% and mindful about the circumstances. So, right here, I say, wherever you are, be there totally. And the bottom images are to represent an earthier, healthier diet to enhance my mindfulness and gratefulness. So, this was my vision board. I had a really fun time making it. I think overall it's also just kind of helped me put my thoughts from this class together and fully grasp what I've learned and kind of how much I've changed and what I hope to become. So, next, I do want to emphasize some concepts that I think really impacted me throughout this entire mini semester. So, the four most impactful concepts that I've learned are eliminating distractions, eating healthy, being grateful, and overall helping to make the world a better place. Eliminating distractions like phones or TV during meals allows me to further focus on my food, leading to a greater appreciation and notice of its flavors and its appeal, and maybe even pondering on the effort it took to make that meal. Eating healthy is another concept that I took deeply into consideration because I learned from my food journals, actually, that my eating habits were extremely harmful to my health, like I mentioned before, and were possibly the main reason for the causes of body pain and migraines. These findings made me want to be a better, what made me want to be better in general, and plan better meals for myself and my family to better nourish our bodies. Being grateful allows me to be more considerate of my meals, which in the long run makes me more appreciative of what I have and gives me more empathy towards those who don't. And lastly, overall contributing to making the world a better place was the biggest impact. If my silly dietary habits are helping cause the Earth's decline, it's super important to me that I change those habits. Even if the progress is little, in my heart, I know that our home, our planet, will greatly benefit from it. I really enjoyed making the food journals. I think it was a really enlightening experience for me and allowed me to recognize some really bad eating habits of mine. So I think that this mindful practice is one that I will continue to further my mindfulness and just kind of keep my life and diet in balance. I have mentioned this a bunch of other times throughout journals and discussions, but I am a huge advocate against plastic. So, including removing all plasticware from my household, I will try to avoid products that have disposable plastic packaging as well as restaurants that use plastic utensils. Now, this initiative is with the goal to not only rid my life of plastic, but also encourage my community as well to make a healthier and greener home. I've enjoyed sharing my experience of this class with you, and I've overall really enjoyed this class. Thank you.